Hey Thunderbolts, it's me, Static The Hedgehog here. Today on Friday, I read the next history of the SATAM Characters. And forgive me that I did not quite well because words can be difficult sometimes. But anyway, that is all for now and let us begin. So, the next character today is Antoine Depardieu. In the past, Antoine attained an associated with the royal guard. He also had training as a squire in the Delmont province during his youth. Antoine knew the other knuckle-freedom fighters since childhood, and he was with them when they were evacuated to the knockout after Robotnik's coup in Mobotropolis. While in Knockout Village, Antoine would try the seducing Sally instead of helping Bonnie work on the construction of a catapult. Antoine, Sonic, and Cat later snuck into a hangar in Robotropolis where they met up with Sally for a mission to sabotage Dr. Robotnik's steel bots. When the SWAT bots detected them, however, the heroes began their escape thanks to the air ducts. Although Antoine and Sally managed to escape, they lost Cat. Once the group outside the Robotropolis, Sonic decided to head back and find Cat, while Sally took Antoine with him on a trip to the Dark Swan because she suspected that her father had sent her message from there. Upon arriving there, Antoine was very afraid of the swamp, but he managed to reach Iron Lock Prison with Sally. While crossing the hanging bridge leading to Iron Lock Torch, the bridge collapsed. Fortunately, the duo got to the edge of the other side, and Antoine managed to pull Sally up when she was left hanging on the edge. A nervous Antoine then joined as the ventured past to the prison gate. Inside the iron lock, Antoine was frightened by the closing doors, and later Sonic when he returned to them. After all, managed to revive a message from a computer inside a cell in Iron Rock Torch. A trapdoor opened and the heroes fell into the sewers. There, they were attacked by a monster, with Sonic managed to break throats with the power of a power ring. Afterward, the trio discovered that the monster was just a robot. Antoine then went with Sally and Sonic trudged to the sewer until they reached the Steelbot's hangar. There, Sally managed to reprogram the Steelbots before fleeing from the Robotropolis with Antoine and Sonic. When Robotnik then sent his Steelbots after them, they were destroyed due to Sally's sabotage. Sometime afterwards, Antoine helped Bonnie and get up from her trip down the Knuckle Tree slide after she returned to the Knuckle following a mission to Robotropolis. When Sonic then came trudged to the tree slide and landed in his headstack, Antoine would brush off the hay and Sonic splashed on him. Later, Antoine, Bonnie and Rotor met up with Sonic and Sally in the subway in Robotropolis after they trio fell to the fight old parts from the robotic sizer at the junkyard. There, Antoine and his group learned that Sonic and Sally had seen the robotic-sized Chuck head for the crystal mine. Deciding to follow Chuck, and Antoine and his group headed towards the crystal mine in a trolley just as they came under attack by the SWAT bots. After later fighting and capturing Chuck, the group gave him a power ring that restored his might and free will. Upon regaining his senses, however, Chuck took Antoine and his group into a crystal mine to stop Robotnik forces from extracting a giant energy crystal. If the crystal was removed, Mobius' ecosystem will be destroyed. Antoine thus joined Sally and Rotor, who helped him and get into the control room with the controls for the crane designed to pull the energy crystal out of the mine. After the crystal was destroyed, Antoine and the other freedom fighters escaped and fled to the crystal mine in a train. However, they had to leave Chuck behind as he soon reverted back to an aggressive work bot once more, and Kotos heard this escape from the SWAT bots. Antoine later helped the knockout freedom fighters build the Freedom Stormer airplane so that they could fly to the Mega and find the secret skulls. When they took off in the Freedom Stormer, however, Antoine and his friends almost crashed, but Rotor managed to stabilize the airplane. When Antoine and co. later landed near Mega, Sonic kept them from slipping off a cliff. During the landing, Antoine was so scared that he will seek a cover under his seat. While in Mega, Antoine and his group managed to find the secret skulls, but then Dr. Robotnik, Sniffly, and their SWAT bots appeared to take the skulls from them. Sonic, however, managed to turn the villain's attention away, giving Antoine and his friends a chance to escape. While escaping from the secret skulls temple, Antoine accidentally found a secret passage in the wall, which the group used to get outside. Later, Sonic managed to blow Robotnik and his lackeys off a cliff using the breed of Mobius, which was located in Mega. With a successful mission under their belt, Antoine and his friends returned to the Freedom Stormer and flew back home in it. Antoine later took a part in Sally and Bonnie's mission to destroy Robotropolis' backup generator. However, Antoine got bored along the way, which annoyed Sally and Bonnie. When they later reached the backup generator, Antoine volunteered to destroy it himself. However, Antoine ended up tripping along the way, causing him to fall down on a conveyor belt, which he accidentally activated as well. As he then got pulled towards some gears that would surely crush him, Sally called for help, and before helping Bonnie slow down the conveyor belt. A moment later, Sonic came running and rescued Antoine by putting a power ring in between the gears. This led the whole system collapsing and destruction of the backup generator. Antoine and the Freedom Fighter later watched Sonic destroy the Shredder when it began the cutting down the Great Forest. After returning the knockout, Sally kissed Sonic and went for a walk with him. Getting jealous, Antoine began to think about ways to impress Sally. Upon hearing Antoine's trouble, Rotor suggested as a joke that he should try and capture Robotnik. However, Antoine took Rotor's joke seriously when no one was looking, and Antoine was out of the power ring from the Lake of the Rings and put it in his backpack. He turned when the Robotropolis, where he managed to get around the SWAT bots patrolling the city. He later found a surveillance orb, through which he relayed a message to Robotnik, saying that if he wanted the power ring, he had to meet him alone outside Robotropolis. There, Antoine prepared a trap for Robotnik in the form of the pit trap. When the doctor then personally came to collect the power ring, Antoine made him fall into his pit. Antoine planned to tie him up and take him to the knuckle, but Robotnik got out of Antoine's pit with his jet boots and began firing at Antoine using his finger laser. In the end, Antoine lost the power ring and was captured. Afterward, Robotnik showed Antoine his sonic radar, which, after having the power ring inserted into it, could fire large lasers at Sonic with deadly accuracy. When it seems like Sonic had been destroyed, Robotnik ordered Antoine to be taken away for roboticization. When the SWAT bots put Antoine into robotic-sized thought, Sonic came and saved him before they taking him to the Great Forest. There, Antoine and Sonic managed to avoid the Sonic Radar's laser when it was being fired at them. Sonic even tricked Robotnik into destroying his second shredder with it. When Antoine and Sonic got surrounded by Robotnik and SWAT bots, however, Antoine pulled the power ring out of Sonic Radar and handed it over to Sonic. With power ring boosting Sonic's power, Antoine and Sonic managed to escape Robotnik and return to Knockho. There, Antoine started talking about his heroic deeds to the others, but only Tails stayed to hear them. Antoine and the other Knockout Freedom fighters were later woken up during the night by a rocket booster that crashed near Knockho. Antoine subsequently took note of the messages that Sally intercepted from the Robotnik's base satellite, the Sky Spy. Afterwards, Antoine helped Bonnie set up the repaired rocket booster so that it had the right angle for the takeoff. Also, Sonic and Rotor could use the rocket booster to fly up to the Sky Spy and destroy it before it could locate Knockho. After the Sky Spy was sabotaged, Anton watched its destruction through a telescope. Later, he congratulates Sonic and Rotor for their heroic deeds. Later, Antoine, Bonnie, and Sally met up with Rotor to receive SWATbot's disguise. Thanks to them, they were able to get close to the Cloudbuster, which Robotnik planned to spray the chemical into the atmosphere with in order to create toxic rain. During the mission touch, Antoine was trembling in fear, forcing Bonnie to calm him down. Infiltrating the Cloudbuster staff, Antoine and Bonnie stood guard outside, while Sally went inside the Cloudbuster to hack its computer. When a SWATbot bot told them to return to the position, however, Antoine tried to walk, only to trip over his own legs and lose his helmet. With their cover blown, Antoine, Sally, and Bonnie were arrested and brought to Sniffly. Slippy subsequently took Antoine, Sally, and Bonnie to the island of Nimbus, where they would stand before Robotnik. For a plan to lure Sonic into a trap, Dr. Lockett to trio up in a cage. When Sonic later arrived to save Antoine and the others, thought the Cloudbuster had already begun spraying the chemicals into the atmosphere. Sonic, however, managed to destroy the Cloudbuster. Afterwards, he gave Sally a power ring to break the energy bars of their cage with. As Sally pushed the power ring against the bars, Antoine and Bonnie helped Sally hold the power ring in place. Once the trio was free, Sonic grabbed them and escaped the island of Nimbus with them, just before the island sank into a river. Later, Antoine, Sally, and Sonic successfully destroyed the traffic control center in Robotropolis. During their subsequent escape, however, they were surrounded by SWAT bots. Fortunately, they were saved by Griff, who led them to Lower Mobius, an underground city on the Robotropolis. On the way there, Antoine was trembling in fear all the time, but he calmed down once they reached the Lower Mobius. There, the heroes helped the Griff oust some red bots which were plaguing the inhabitants. After returning the Lower Mobius, Antoine noticed that Griff was making a move on Sally, prompting him to inform Sonic about it. In an attempt to do Jane Sally favor, Antoine gave Sally a large bouquet of a flower and recited a poem that he had made especially for her. As he got into an argument with Sonic thoughts, Sally broke them up. Sally decided afterward to stick with Griff, who promised to take Antoine and his group back to the Great Forest. However, after returning to the Great Forest, Griff claimed his hoover sled had broken down. Sally thus suggested that he spend the night in Knockhill, which Griff accepted. Antoine later stood guard at the Lake of Rings when Sally arrived with Griff. Antoine tried to keep them from trespassing, but failed. Later at night, Antoine fell asleep while on guard duty. When he woke up, he discovered that something was wrong with the Lake of Rings and informed Sonic and Sally about it, discovering that the power rock was gone. The heroes soon after came across clues that indicated that Griff had taken it. Fortunately, Sonic regained the power rock after sharing a fragment of it with Griff. Antoine and Tails would later deliver fertilizer to their garden in the order to rejuvenate the dying trees that they had planted in their garden. When Sonic later returned from fishing, however, he would spill some strange green water from the great river out of his ears, which caused the plant to grow rapidly. With the knockout freedom fighter deciding to get more of his green water, Antoine, Sonic, Sally, and Rotor began a sailing trip down the Great River. During the cruise touch, they were dragged into a containment underground lake by a whirlpool. Having lost their boat's engine, Antoine was forced to row it back. Antoine was soon after kidnapped by the Kraken, however, who placed him in the pool that he was slowly sinking into. Sonic and Sally were later put into the pool as well to share Antoine's fate. Fortunately, Rotor came to rescue. After getting the power ring to Sonic, who used it to free himself and Sally from the pool, Antoine was saved by Rotor. Antoine and his friends then met the Kraken, who turned out to have been trying to kill them because he believed them to be behind the pollution that had infected his underground kingdom. In turn, the heroes explained that the one behind the pollution could be no one else Dr. Robotnik. Soon afterwards, the Kraken got bound by snake props, prompting Sonic to head up to the surface to stop the snake props. There, he managed to destroy Robotnik's drilling platform, which was polluting the Kraken's kingdom. Afterwards, Rotor purified the water in the underground kingdom using some green water he had found. As thanks for their help, the Kraken gave Antoine and Co. a gift to help them with their plans. Returning afterward the Knuckle, the group used Kraken gift to revive their plans. While out in the swamp with the other Knuckled freedom fighters, Antoine wrote a poem for Sally, which he began resisting until Tails told him to stop because his poem was making him hungry. Soon after, Dulcie scared Antoine just for fun. When Antoine later ran over to Sally to recite his poem to her touch, he stumbled and broke the rope that held up and destroyed the Hoover unit. As such, the vehicle remains almost landed on Sally, but Sonic managed to save her in time. During the following evening, Antoine sat together with Rosie around the campfire, and the next day, he, Sally, and Tails flew back to Rotor and Dulceback so they could decipher the orders a SWAT had received. Antoine would later help a robotic-sized Uncle Chuck with his work when Tails brought in a sandwich that accidentally fell into Antoine's hands. Antoine wanted to eat the sandwich, but Tails took it from him, saying that it was not for him. After a while, however, Chuck became a workbot against and kidnapped Antoine and Tails. While escaping Knuckles, however, Chuck stopped up in the swamps, where he tied up Antoine and Tails, intending to use them as bait for Sonic. When Sonic later came running to the rescue, Sonic fell into a pool of Megamog, and Chuck took Antoine and Tails with him to Robotropolis. Fortunately, Sonic soon caught up with them and managed to restore Chuck's free will. When the Shriekbot then arrived, Chuck hid Antoine and Tails in a flying vehicle. After Shriekbot had been dealt with, Antoine, Sonic, and Tails returned to Knockout Village. Antoine later learned from Sally that Sonic had been hit by a memory scrambler and that Sniffy was now using the amnesiac to Sonic to find the Knockout. When Sniffly and his force operates the Knockout, Antoine and the other Knockout field advisors hide in an underground shelter. However, they were eventually found by Sniffly. After being uncovered, Antoine ran out and started kissing Sniffly's shoes, hoping to earn his pity. However, Sniffly wanted none of this and treated Antoine and his fellow field advisors to memory scrambler. Fortunately, Sonic, Sally, Tails, and Chuck defeated Sniffly and stopped his invasion of Knuckle. Antoine's history was later slightly altered when Sonic and Sally went back in time to stop Robotnik before he rose to power in Mobotropolis. In the past, young Antoine was left in the care of Rosie together with young Bonnie, young Rotor, young Sally, and young Sonic, when Chuck had to go meet the king with the time-traveling version of Sonic and Sally. However, young Sonic ignored the order to stay put and decided to check out what was happening at the palace. As the children decided to join Sonic, Antoine automatically went along with them. At the palace touch, they were caught by the SWAT bots. Locked in jail, young Antoine and the other children were set to robotic size. Fortunately, they were saved by Sonic and Sally, and together with Rosie, they fled to Knuckle. During a trip to Robotropolis, Antoine was supposed to retrieve one of Chuck's messages from its hiding place, but he could not get a message out of its container. A SWAT bot soon after surprised him, but Sonic arrived just in time to save Antoine. Sonic then began scolding Antoine for almost revealing the secret place where Chuck left his message from them. When Antoine told Sonic that he had everything under control, Sonic threatened to leave him in Robotropolis and let him find a way back to the Knockout himself. Fortunately for Antoine, Sonic soon came back for him. After returning to the Knockout, Antoine asked Bonnie for martial arts lesson. Antoine, however, was terrible at it, and he ended up knocking the training dummy into Sonic's hut. Sonic promptly threw the dummy back at Antoine, but Antoine believed that Sonic was just jealous and began showing off his skills, only to bounce himself off a branch and into Sonic's hut. After Sonic kicked him out, Antoine wandered around the great forest practicing martial arts. Eventually thought he came across the nasty hyenas, who began at laugh at him and scare him. When Antoine said that he was the king of the martial arts, however, the hyenas made him their king. After realizing his new position and reviving Antoine began ordering the hyenas around until Sonic arrived. When Antoine began to argue with Sonic, thought the order and the hyenas to impress Sonic after he insulted him. Sonic, however, broke free, and Dulcie, Sally, and Bonnie arrived soon after. Antoine proceeds to grade them, and even offered Sally to become his queen. Sally, however, refused and told Antoine to come back to the freedom fighters. Antoine, however, decided to remain as the king of the nasty hyenas and renewed his membership of the freedom fighters. The next day, however, the nasty hyenas prepared to eat their king, which was their costume. They thus began to cook Antoine in a cauldron, but Antoine was more terrified by how the hyenas were using the wrong spices to season him. Fortunately, Sonic and the other freedom fighters arrived to help him, and Antoine helped defeat one of the hyenas. Meanwhile, he was angry all the time over how the nasty hyenas did not know how to cook food properly. After returning the knock-hole, Antoine began to brag about how he helped defeat the hyenas. Sometime later, Antoine joined Sonic and Tails on a training session in the Great Forest. Here, he was supposed to hide from Tails so that the Fox Cop could track him down as a part of Sonic's training. Antoine, however, supposedly saw a ghost that frightened him and so much that he fell into a mud pool. When Sonic and Tails pulled him out of there, Antoine told them about what he saw, but Sonic did not believe him. Later at night, the heroes camped out. There, Antoine tried to fall asleep in his bed, only to get scared by the ghost stories that Sonic told Tails. After finally falling asleep, however, Antoine began to sleepwalk. While walking around, he got covered all over in some glowing moss. When Tails mistook Antoine for a ghost, Sonic got suspicious and headed out to check it out. However, Sonic quickly realized that the ghost was Antoine. Antoine later helped Sonic look for Tails, who was hiding from them. When Antoine found him, he explained to Tails that he was not a ghost, and Sonic explained the glowing moss to the Fox Cop. The next day, Antoine was packing up when Sonic and Tails saw a medal lying on the ground, which was the same as the one from the legend of the Gooper Highwayman. Hearing a ghostly laughter to terrify the trio escaped from this part of the forest. During the winter, Antoine tried to helping Sonic navigate Dulcie when she had to land during a snowstorm. However, as a result of Antoine's indication, Dulcie crashed into Sonic's hut, destroying it. As such, Sonic had to move in with Antoine until the snowstorm had subsided so he could get to work on rebuilding his hut. Sonic very quickly frazzled Antoine, however, as Sonic would carry dirt and snow into his home and cover his kitchen in chili sauce when preparing some chili dogs. When Sonic then began sleep-running while dreaming that he was fighting Robotnik, Sonic would destroy Antoine's Antoine's furniture. At the point, Antoine lost his mind and started throwing his things around the order to mess up his house. Had enough of Antoine's behavior, Sonic moved out. Shortly thereafter, F3 fell into Antoine's hut. However, that did not stop Antoine's maniacal laughter. During one stormy night, Antoine helped Rotor with his latest invention, Rebecca. Shortly after Rotor went out to get the unnecessary tools touch, Antoine accidentally activated Rebecca, who immediately fell in love with him. Not wanting to crazy the robot's affection, Antoine began to run away from her. Meanwhile, Sonic and Rotor went looking for Antoine in order to find Rebecca. When Rebecca finally catches Antoine, she started feeding him metallic food and massaging his back brutally. Fortunately, Rotor soon showed up and turned Rebecca off. The next day, Rotor tried to reprogram Rebecca. Rebecca, however, did not listen to Rotor and soon tracked Antoine down again. Antoine thus brought Rebecca back to Rotor, who decided to get to work and disassembling Rebecca. While waiting for Rotor, however, Antoine had the idea of speaking in a more trivial way instead of his French accent, which disgusted Rebecca, who escaped from Antoine. She then fell in love with Sonic when she heard him speak in a French accent to mock Antoine. Sonic, however, escaped Rebecca, who fell in Antoine and fell in love with him again, much to Antoine's dismay. Soon after, Antoine, Sally, Sonic, and Dulce came to the Great Unknown in the search of the freedom fighters group known as the Wolfpack. Upon reviving the short route Nico had to Wolfpack headquarters, Sonic ran ahead of his friends. Antoine and his Sally tried to following him on Dulce, but Sonic stopped them when they approached a field with perpetual lightning storms. With the storm field in their way, the knockout freedom fighters followed the second route Nico pointed out for them. Upon reaching a dead-end touch, the group found some inscriptions that Nico translated, revealing them to be a warning about a curse. Horrified by the threat of the curse, Antoine found the entrance to the underground tunnel by the chance while panicking. Dulce, however, could not in there because she had a claustrophobia, so Sonic told her to go back to the knockhole. Antoine intuitively wanted to join Dulce, but he ultimately decided to stay for sake for Sally. Just as he descended into the underground tunnel, however, Antoine tripped and started stumbling down to the stairs. When the light in the tunnel went out, Antoine began to scream about the curse until Sonic ignited some torches. Antoine stayed afterward with Sally until the group met the wolf, whom they asked to show them a way of the tunnels. Eventually, the wolf took them to a trapdoor which into the fell troughs. As they ended up on a slide, Antoine screamed again about the curse, but Sonic told him to shut up. Eventually, the slide took into trio to the Wolfpack's home base. There they met Loop, the leader of the Wolfpack, who told them the Wolfpack's history. At the end of their meeting, they agreed to work together in order to get in touch with the Order Freedom Fighters group. They also decided to destroy a doomsday pod, which was destroying the area. Later, under the cover of the night, Antoine and the Wolfpack rode a cannon out of the cave uses against the Doomsday Pot. Along the way thus, the heroes had to hide from the Robotnik's hovercraft which was patrolling the area. When they tried to hide from the hovercraft, however, Antoine fell and mistook the SWAT-bot's heat sensor rays for the curse. Fortunately, Sonic took him to safety before he was discovered. During their subsequent battle with the Doomsday Pot, Antoine thought the death curse was over them when he failed to destroy the Doomsday Pot. After retreating back to the Wolfpack's home base, Loop explained to Antoine that there was no curse. It was only something that the Wolfpack has fabricated in order to scare off the intruders. Later, the heroes managed to destroy the Doomsday Pot and return to the Knockhole. Antoine later took the party in Sally operations to keep Robotnik fuel tankers from delivering fuel to the Doomsday Machine. While Sonic distracted the guards around the fuel tankers comfy, Antoine, Sally, and Bonnie used his magnets to attach themselves to the bottom of the fuel tankers cases while they poured water into their tanks. While carrying out their operation, however, Sally managed to cut damage. Fortunately, Antoine healed Sally up and so that the other guards would not see her. Afterward, Sally managed to fix her magnet. However, the SWAT bots eventually detected the heroes and surrounded them. Luckily, Sonic came to the rescue and managed to get Antoine and the others away from the site by leading them into a sewer. After returning to the Knockhole, Sally gave Antoine a kiss as thanks for his help and bravery. Later, during the evening, Antoine bragged about his courage to Rotor. When Rotor received the information that Robotnik was close to uncovering Chuck as spy, however, Antoine, emboldened by his own accomplishment, decided to go to Robotov himself to warn him. Hitching a ride on Dulcie, Antoine flew to Robotropolis. After arriving here, however, Antoine could not find Chuck in his hideout and decided to look around the city. Eventually, he came across and opened the air duct. Although Antoine hesitated to enter it, he eventually did in order to avoid bypassing the SWAT-bot patrol. While passing close to the air duct, Antoine stumbled up Chuck, but got scared by his sudden appearance. As a result, Antoine fell out of the air duct trucks and opening and landed right in the front of Sniffly. Antoine was subsequently caught and trapped to a chair in an interrogation room. There, Sniffly tried Antoine by mishandling French cuisine in the front of him. Just as Antoine cracked, however, Sonic arrived and rescued him. Even as he was being taken to safety thoughts, Antoine used the grudge against Sonic for not stopping Sniffly's horrible cooking. Sonic, however, closed Antoine's mouth before delivering him to Dulcie, who took him to Knockhole. While on guard duty in Watchtower later on, Antoine fell asleep until Sonic woke him up. However, Antoine got such a fright when he woke up that he fell out the Watchtower. Fortunately, Sonic saved him before he hit the ground. Immediately afterwards, the ground split apart and Doomsday Pot burst out of it. As the Doomsday Pot began destroying everything, Sonic took Antoine's Knockhole and had him ring the alarm bell. After they Doomsday Pot was destroyed, Antoine took the pot in an attack and Doomsday Machine with Bonnie, Sally, and Sonic. After getting into the Doomsday Machine, while their allies created a destruction, the heroes eventually reached the machine's Doomsday Pot assembly line. There, after discovering that their allies had all been captured, Sonic convinced his friends to evacuate to safety on one of the Doomsday Pots while he took care of the Doomsday Machine. After doing as Sonic had instructed, Antoine waited for him in the great unknown with Sally, Dulcie, Tails, and Chuck. When Sonic returned to them and revealed that he could not destroy the Doomsday Machine, Antoine fainted. After the Doomsday Machine was destroyed and Robotnik disappeared, along with the torch, Antoine returned to the Nocturne to celebrate their victory with the Freedom Fighters. Antoine is clumsy, cowardly, self-centered, pompous, and he has an excessively high opinion about himself. However, his clumsiness can sometimes prove to be useful, allowing him to discover secret passages and other hidden subjects purely by chance. Very fast-oriented, Antoine's most characteristic feature is his French accent and tenuous grasp of the English language, which makes it difficult for the others to understand him, or vice versa. This often causes him to get ridiculed by Sonic and his friends, thus he typically does not get into it. In order to win his affection of Sally, whom he calls the love of his life, Antoine tries to pretend to be someone brave and ready to defend himself. However, when it comes to facing the real dangers, Antoine often hesitated and is unable to face a chance ahead of him. Once of a cowardly nature surfaces, Antoine often to scream out of fear and descends into a babbling, trembling mess. Out of all the freedom fighters, Antoine can best describe as a fighter for his own safety rather than the freedom fighter of Mobius. Despite often being included in dangerous missions, he is usually the first to suggest abandoning their objectives in the favor of return to Knuckle, fearing for his life even before encountering any danger. Despite this, Antoine will automatically refuse to acknowledge his cowardice and often providing a weak excuse to defend himself. In dedication, Antoine is jealous of Sonic and his heroic deeds, which prompts him to try proving himself in often foolish or painful ways. This more often than not backfires horribly, resulting in Antoine frankly and putting himself and his friends, or the mission in jeopardy. Despite his bumbling and nature and reckless missteps, Antoine also likes to grossly embellish the stories about his heroic deeds, which are unusually accompanied by his very vivid and facial expression and the body language. Antoine is also extremely fastidious about his hygiene, clothes, and well-maintained home. He finds a great joy in cleaning his home and clothes, and even the smallest piece of the dirty finds him and makes him panic. Too much clutter can even make him lose his mind. Antoine and his gourmet and connoisseur of finest foods, and he is well versed in the ingredients and spices needed to prepare specific dishes. To him, witnessing find the justice be prepared accordingly is as bad as physical torture, promoting him to scream, cry, panic, or even to get angry and complaining obsessively about how the individual dishes could be prepared. He also superstitious, being frightened by the ghost stories and panicking when he heard that the wolf pack had cursed. Authors, trained as a square from childhood, Antoine has a little to no physical skills or talent, and he is quite clumsy. While he more than once attempted to improve himself, he was achieved very little in the way of progress, even to the point Bonnie once declared to teach him self-defense would be a lost cause. Despite this, his bad luck will now and then work into his benefit, thus probably by accident. Antoine is well known in the knockout for being a master. He also the record keeper of knockout. Tails dislike Antoine's strong collagen, and despite this, Tails is only one of while listening to exaggerated tales of bravado, and his impression youth leaves him as the only one who will believe the stories. Despite being a close friend of Sonic, Rotor was sympathetic to Antoine early and once of inadvertently gave Antoine the idea to try to capture Robotnik. Authors Rotor suggests this as a joke. Antoine took it seriously and caused him to steal a power ring and travel to Robotropolis alone. This left Rotor feeling both worried and guilty, as he did not expect Antoine to take his suggestion seriously. Later on, Rotor also employed Antoine to help him in the lab. Antoine's bumbling frankly led him to mess up Rotor's inventions, and Rotor was often annoyed by Antoine's bragging while he was working. Antoine is deeply in love with Sally and insists on calling her by her title even after the fall of her kingdom. The interior of Antoine's hut is decorated with portraits of Sally. Unfortunately for Antoine, Sally displays no interest in him and openly prefers Sonic's company, arousing Antoine's jealousy. Antoine's attraction to Sally and sometimes lead him to rash and foolish action to impress her. Despite being annoyed by Antoine's antics, Sally considering him as an essential part of the team and refuses to leave him behind, regardless of the risk his incompetence brings. Sonic and Antoine have a strong, if you want side rivalry. A key reason for this being their mutual affection for Princess Sally, with Antoine being extremely jealous of the attention Sonic gets from Sally. Antoine also appears jealous over Sonic's physical capabilities and often the vicious and could be athletic as Sonic. Antoine is typically quick to lay blame on Sonic whenever anything goes wrong, even if he was clearly not at fault for anything. His motivation for such seems to begin and his is displeasure for Sonic, and often cause the treatment him to stop. And despite this, Sonic refused to take Antoine seriously, regarding him as more of annoyance than a rival. Another factor at the play is stuffed upper-class Antoine having a little tolerance for the mess lowborn Sonic. When Sonic temporarily moved into Antoine's heart for repair, he had made his own house. Antoine was driven made by Hedgehog, slow best manners in his home. Excuse me. Despite their mutual dislike of each other, they two rivals were united in their mistrust of grief. Although they were quick to return one another once again when their affection for Sally turned competitive. So, that's all for now. I hope you all enjoyed the history of the characters that you learn about. And for the next time, on Friday, I read the next character history. So, have a nice day and enjoy your day. Laterzzz Thunderbolts. Bye.